Every city has its shadows and secrets. The places no one will go, the things no one will talk about. But in the city of God's fall, the shadows are of the darkest black. Grotesque monstrosities stalk the city at night, held at bay by a guild of monster hunters. Listen with caution, my friends, for the stories that you are about to hear are greatly disturbing. And pray to whatever God will hear you, that you are one of the lucky ones who can sleep at night without having to worry about what lurks beneath the city streets.
Welcome to God's Fall.
So, last session, we split the party after a long fight with an Obelix. I think it's called. Obelix. Something like... I kind of feel like there should be an extra O in there, but you know what? I'm not going to argue about that. Basically, big old jelly thing that impersonates people and steals memories. You discovered a crack in the wall after killing it. It was impersonating people at the Temple of Durok, and there was a hole in the wall down where it was, which you think you might have squeezed out of. And through that hole in the wall, a certain wizard, Edwin, sent his newly acquired cat, shrunk down and using its cat ability to basically become liquid, as all cats can, to observe that way back in the crack, there was a laboratory with what seemed like the goo the Obelix was made out of in several large vats. So, possibly more of these things. The laboratory was interesting because the only way to access it, other than that tiny crack in the wall, was a hole in the floor of the laboratory that went straight down. So, you split the party. Dominic and Cal went off to deal with the aftermath of finding out that the High Priest was, in fact, part of an evil goo thing. Although no one actually knows this yet, except U6. So the High Priest supposedly called a meeting. This was actually Archie trying his hardest, damnedest, to impersonate him. So the High Priest called a meeting. Cal is going to be there. Dominic's going to be there. A bunch of other people are going to be there. The rest of you all left. We have a halfling who's planning on breaking and entering.
No breaking, just entering.
No breaking, just entering. We have the wizard and the Eldritch Knight are both planning on doing research. And Archie is going to help with the entering and keep watch. So that's where we are. We were going to start at... Alright, so how long are you waiting before you go in to enter the house? Because the sun is setting right now.
I'd be going in right now. That way my exit would be covered with the darkness.
Alright.
Sorry.
Not that kind of darkness, no. And thank you for not going too long and getting us in trouble with copyright.
Yeah.
Alright.
Now, do you have the horn?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. So, I just remember how Cal gave me something to make noise when we were... Wait, what? No?
No.
I thought you gave me it.
He was not there. It was just you and I.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, so Cal gave me this thing to make a bunch of noise that only you or whoever I choose can hear. I think that could possibly save us if shit goes down. So listen for a horn.
Is it... I will listen.
Okay. Let's check and see if the door's locked. I check to see if the door is locked.
Alright.
Wait. We're just going right up to the front door?
Back door.
Back door. Alright. So, you find a back door near the kitchen.
Can I
where the kitchen would be.
take like a handkerchief or something and just kind of pull it up over my face?
Yes, you can.
I'll do that.
I assume you've got a million handkerchiefs.
Before we approach the back door, like as we're going, I put it on. So
are you sure you don't have a turtleneck style mask that you just comes?
I just pull my. He just pulls his shirt up over his nose, and it just works that way. Like it's no, it is. It's the turtleneck that he just pulls up and it sits over his mouth.
All right.
Over his nose and mouth.
I was gonna say because I don't think we've ripped off Bloodborne enough yet.
I can go get the Bloodborne figure and just use him as Archie.
It's like 5 feet tall, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but you should know.
Yeah.
He's not compensated at all.
So you are standing in front of the back door to this mansion.
Yes.
I am actually going to draw some stuff out for the first time.
Hey, Archie.
Yes.
Since I'm not tall enough, can you just take a peek in the window before I try to open this door?
Of course. Now I'm just going to I'm going to find some nearby bushes and I'll just be standing about them.
Just to word to the wise, I don't know how many illegal things you've done, but it kind of builds suspicion if you have a mask or something trying to cover your face.
Yes, but it's preferable to hide your identity from observers from outside.
Don't stand in one place. Walk around the building and try not to look suspicious.
I'm just going to hang out in these bushes here, close to the door.
Can you look in the window?
Of course. That perception is going to run me a 10.
All right. So, with a 10, you see a kitchen. It's a fairly decent-sized kitchen for the size of Manor, which admittedly is nowhere near as large as your house. That was loud. The kitchen over here seems to connect to a room on the left. You see a door over here, and then you see another door over here. I have not drawn maps in quite a while. Do place some kind of representation.
Is this the kitchen?
Yeah, this is the kitchen here.
This is the kitchen.
Okay. So the kitchen seems to be empty right now. Dust seems to be covering things.
That's a dust-covered kitchen. Should you find bottles of wine? I haven't picked any up. Would you mind?
Sure.
Appreciate that.
Anything else?
Edwin has been eating me out of house and home.
If we're shopping,
I mean, honestly. Yeah,
Okay.
Edwin's been eating me out of house and home. So if you should just kind of run in there and on your way out, if it's no bother, grab a bottle or two of wine, perhaps some dry stock.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
I checked to see if the door's locked.
The door is, in fact, locked.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to pick it.
Before he kneels down to do that, can I do a perception check to see if neighbors are getting nosy?
You can go ahead and give me a perception check.
9.
All right, you can't see any nosy neighbors.
Okay.
22.
Yeah, you are very easily able to work this lock. It's not a difficult one. You've broken into houses like this several times.
Cool. I close the door behind me.
All right.
And I lock it.
All right.
I am going to try and find some nearby bushes that could obscure myself, and I'm going to hide there.
All right, so I am now in here. I am going to head this way. I'm gonna kind of go up to the door, and I am going to listen to see if I hear anything on the other side.
All right, give me a perception check.
That's an 8.
All right. You don't hear anything on the other side.
All right, I go through that door slowly, just in case anything else is on the other side, making sure they wouldn't be able to see me going through the door.
you see it. You find yourself in the dining room.
Okay.
So
I'm going to roll stealth.
you should. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
It's a 14.
All right, so 14 for your stealth. You come into the dining room. There's a very long table, lots of chairs around it.
Okay.
It's two scenes covered with dust and cobwebs. No one's used this in a while.
Any doors? Any like hutches that look like they would have anything stored away?
There are some hutches on the left-hand side. They seem to be full with sort of silverware and plates and things.
Anything look particularly expensive?
Give me a investigation check.
16.
All right. For reference, I think we should start using the little trays that Dan
The dice trays that I've worked very hard to provide.
Yeah, got it. 16.
All right. So with a 16, you can find some especially nice pair of crystal goblets.
I take them.
All right.
Write that
Add 2 crystal goblets to your inventory. Each is worth around 75 GP.
Cool.
You're of
And-
course going to need to fence them.
Oh, yeah. And then, so I see that there's another door.
Yes.
So I'm going to move over. I'm going to listen at that door. That's 3?
3.
Yep.
So with a 3, you hear nothing.
Awesome. I try to walk through the door quietly and lowering my level even less than the 3'6" that I am.
All right, we're going to keep your same stealth roll for the majority of this walkthrough.
Okay.
Unless something happens that makes you reevaluate
Okay.
how stealthy you're being.
Cool.
All right, so you go through the door and you find an empty but large foyer.
Ooh.
There is a chandelier. It's completely out. There's dust and cobwebs hanging on. The room is dimly lit through the very large front windows and the window of the door, and you can see a staircase leading up to the second floor.
Okay. Do I see anything else? Like anything mounted on the wall? Any trophies? Anything like that?
There is a shield on the wall bearing a coat of arms. If you wanted to identify the coat of arms, you could make a history check.
Yeah, sure. Why not? 19.
All right. So with a 19, you find yourself looking at the honorary coat of arms of the Monster Hunters Guild. But it's years old. The coat of arms has since been updated and changed a little. But this is a older version of the arms that the guild went under.
I'm talking out loud to myself. That will be too hard to sell. Cool. I might steal it just for me. And I go up the stairs quietly.
All right.
Hopefully.
You go up the stairs quietly. Up the stairs you go, and on the top of them, you find a long hallway. So you find yourself at the top of the stairs, a little landing around here. And then there's a hallway that goes down. And then at the very end of the hallway is a large door, and there are two doors on either side as well.
Cool. Alright. So, this is where I'm at. I want to take a peek and just poke my head around to see if I see anything up on up in the hallway.
It's a dust-covered hallway, but give me a perception check.
Cool. 10. Nope. 10.
All right. With a 10, some of the dust looks a little bit disturbed, but you can't tell by what.
Okay. Oh, and it is dimly lit, you said.
It is dimly lit.
Yeah, that was a 10. So I'm in, and I'm just going to slowly walk up. You said that it looks like it's been disturbed?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay. I am going to go into the door on my left, but seeing that there's some disturbed dust, I'm going to try to steady myself even more.
All right, give me another stealth check.
18.
All right.
And I'm going to try to go through the door on the left.
All right, so the door on the left is not locked.
Cool.
You enter a library. So it's a library. It's about yay long. And there's a little outcropping on the other side that looks like it might be a balcony of some sort. With a little door right here. I'm getting too close to the mic. And lots of shelves and books all around the room. And a little area over close to this side. We'll call this the north side.
Okay. Is there a desk anywhere, or like display, like an actual like locked away display case or anything like that?
There's no locked away display case, but there is a table with a couple of books on it.
Okay. Does it look like anything's been disturbed, like any of the dust on the floor or anything in here?
No.
No. I want to walk over to the desk and see if any of the books would be helpful either to me or to one of my compatriots.
All right. So on the table,
Okay.
are two books. Again, there are two books. One of them is titled "The Ninth God Heresy," and the other is labeled "A History of Modern Kadath," with notes on the lost city from which it sprang.
Modern Kadath?
Kadath.
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 Do any of those ring a bell? Like, oh, well, Ninth God Heresy, what? It's Godfall. God's Fall.
Well, no, the Ninth God Heresy does. The Ninth God Heresy does ring a bell because there are only 8 gods.
Oh. Okay. Does the Kadath ring a bell?
Well, everyone knows about the nation of Kadath out on the sea.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to grab both of those books, too. And then I just kind of want to peek my head out toward... Is that an outdoor balcony or indoor?
It's
outdoor. Okay, so I'm going to just remember that if I need to make a hasty retreat. And I'm going to go back into the hallway, and I'm going to go through the door on the right.
All right, so on the door on the right, you find... what looks to be a study.
Okay.
And you didn't listen at the door, so you didn't hear the breathing of what looks like a man sitting at one of the desks.
But he doesn't see me.
Well, let me make a perception check for him.
Got too excited. This character is also slightly based off of Archer.
It's cool you get to do a rogue thing though, like an actual break into a house. That's really cool.
Well, he got a 21 in his perception, so he turns around, and you find yourself looking at a face that's familiar to you because you've seen it on campaign posters.
Which one is it?
It's Vanderhill.
Oh, it's the one I don't want to see.
Yes.
Huh. I wonder what he's doing in the house.
And he actually turns around and says, "So, what are you doing in my friend's house?"
What are you doing in your friend's house? I was here because he was just at the hospital, and he wanted me to grab him his favorite book.
All right. Roll a deception check.
12?
12. All right. He rolls an insight.
Not to.
He's
Not to.
he The Holic wants a book.
Yeah, it would mean he's out of his coma.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Or let's see how he reacts to his insight. So how much did he get?
12.
He rolled a natural 13. So he looks at you and he says, "Oh, he's out of his coma then."
He was momentarily. It turns
wasn't.
out there was actually this weird goo monster in the basement of the church.
Oh, there was there?
Yep. And after that died, he came to it for a moment, and I thought it would be nice to read to him.
Really? I think you're lying to me.
That's generally a good assumption. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dash, use cunning action to... I'm going to use my movement, cunning action to dash toward the balcony, and I'm going to use my actual action to blow the horn.
All right.
And I'm on the second floor, right?
All right. So as you turn to run away, I need you to roll initiative. This is not we're not doing turns.
Okay.
I just want to see whether you have more initiative than him.
Okay.
Because he's watching you very carefully. Oh, you definitely have more initiative than him.
Okay, 17.
So you run the heck out of there, and then as you go to blow your horn, you hear him blow a horn.
Okay. Does it look like there are any vines or anything hanging down from the balcony?
There are definitely some vines.
I scuttle down the vines.
All right, give me an acrobatic check.
19 at base.
All right, so that's good enough. You just kind of roll down there. You hear the silent alarm, and then you hear another horn being sound out. And Archie, you would recognize the second horn, and so would you actually, as being the horn of as being a horn used to summon guards.
But I hear Philippe's horn go.
Yeah.
And as I'm climbing down, I just yell, "Book it to your place!"
If I hear that, then I do book. I run out.
So,
Yeah.
Pull up the coat, try to keep myself obscured, and just book.
Yeah.
and then when I get down, I'm extremely panicked, and somehow I manage to magically disguise myself. Because I still don't even know how I was doing the magic in the fight.
All right. So you're really panicked, and and you consciously choose to use a bard spell.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll allow that.
But
I guess.
I disguise myself, and I look like Carl.
All right. So suddenly, with unconsciously, because you're thinking, I need to get out of here, I need to look like someone different, you look like Carl.
Yes. And then, since I'm down here, I'm gonna find just like an alleyway.
Do you realize you look like Carl?
Not yet.
All right.
But I'm gonna see an alleyway,
Uh-huh.
and as I'm getting toward the end of the alleyway, about to go into the main thoroughfare, I just walk naturally. Just because I know if I'm running, they're obviously gonna know it's me that they're coming for.
Yeah.
But if I walk naturally, try to blend in, not look suspicious, I've got a much better chance.
All right. Give me a stealth check, because that is definitely also an element of stealth.
Cool. 18.
All right. So you tend to blend in the crowd. Archie, you run. Do you try to blend in the crowd? What do you do?
I run. If I can hit that main thoroughfare, then I would definitely try and blend.
All right.
That is going to be 14.
All right. With a 14, you are mostly blended in. And you pass by a patrol of guards, and and they're running towards the house, and they don't seem to notice you at all. You just look like another passerby.
Okay.
All right. And the same goes for you. People pass you by. A couple of people give you odd looks, and you don't know why. But for the most part, no one seemed to actually stop you, Philippe.
And of course, I am still me.
Yeah.
So, do I walk by any shops, large pieces of glass, anything like that?
All right.
Yes.
That's where, I mean, you're not going home, right? You guys had made a plan to go to the tavern if things went.
Oh, it was the tavern?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
He
so
didn't
then
want to lead them to his house.
Oh, okay, then
Right.
we're gonna head to the tavern instead. My bad. I forgot. It's
Right.
been a week. But do I see any like shop fronts, large pieces of glass, anything like that?
All right. I'm going to have you roll a wisdom check.
Okay, because I am still me, and I would be checking to see if my hair was good or not.
Oh. All right. So you get far enough away. You go to smush your hair over, and when you look into the window, you see Carl.
What the? Me and Victoria have to have a little talk, but first I need to go to the bar and drink this away.
You're not gonna try and touch your hair?
Oh no.
No.
No. It looks messy, and I'm way too panicked. And I just take a couple of deep breaths, and I start walking toward the tavern.
All right. So make a Constitution save to see if you maintain concentration.
That's a 4.
All right. So as soon as you startle yourself up and go like immediately there's a shimmer and you're yourself again.
I'm gonna duck into an alley,
Yeah.
and I'm actually gonna pull my actual disguise out of my backpack.
Is it?
Philippe is dead now.
Yeah.
So I pull my actual Carl stuff out of my backpack, and I start I dip behind the medieval equivalent of a dumpster. And I just start getting into my Carl disguise.
All right. So you just start getting into your Carl disguise. All right. So we will check up with you two later once you have made it back to the bar. The next people we will go to are Dominic and Cal. The two of you have walked back to the temple. There's a big meeting hall. People are waiting around.
He would have been there way before because I stayed for the conversation. I don't know if that matters or not. And
He would be there way before you, but by the time you catch up to him, it's not.
I'm
She
not-
also
I'm not-
walks
I'm
faster
not-
than I do.
I'm not looking 30. You're
Yeah, you
30,
walk-
right?
No, I'm
Is it-
25.
Is it incredibly important?
25.
Which
It's
gets
not.
there.
Whatever.
Then I think we can.
I just
say
didn't know if
yes.
it had already started, but I'm not looking to sit with him. I just she's not trying to stealth in, but she's just gonna wander in and stand or sit in the back, depending on what's going on. Not go further. I mean, if he's in the back, that's fine. But
Right. So around what you see, what both of you see from your various vantage points within the crowd, there is a lot of people standing around in the main chapel area. Some are sitting in the pews, some are just standing up, some are looking around trying to get another seat. All eyes are towards where the podium would be. Everyone's waiting expectantly from the high priest. He's not coming. Both of you at this point know that he's not coming. No one else does. They're looking and they're waiting. And no one can. You wait and nothing happens. And suddenly people are starting to get more and more agitated. There's a nervous tension. Somebody's just what's going on? And then somebody says the words, maybe the high priest was one of them. Somebody else shouts blasphemy. And all of a sudden, what was a quiet murmuring is now a loud argument, with many people yelling and coming and running around, and not running around, but just pointing at each other and saying things. And it's a big, rowdy crowd. And eventually, one of the assistant priests gets up and says, "Everybody, calm down, please. This is still a holy place. This is no place to be arguing. Now, it's true we have not been able to find the high priest, but we have been praying nonstop to Duroc for guidance, and we believe that soon a message will be delivered to us.
So, while he's talking, I'm gonna walk towards the front of the room.
Right.
I'm gonna be looking around at everybody's like feet, looking for like a slime
I'm doing
trail
the same
just
thing
in
the
case.
back. Yeah.
All right, so both of you give me perception checks.
Well, that is a 7.
14.
There's a lot of feet to look at.
Neither of you see any sort of slime trails or cords.
He's gonna continue walking up. He's just gonna walk up on stage, find himself something to stand up on, so he's over the podium.
Uh-huh.
And like, so your high priest is dead.
And everybody, all eyes turn to you immediately. And the assistant priest says, "Who are you, and how do you know this?"
So I'm gonna go through. Well, I am Dominic Ironblood of the Fireheart clan, and I'm in town for some business. Came in to see the priest. Turns out he was a slime. Slime's dead now, though.
And then someone says, "I knew it! I knew the high priest was one of them!" And the assistant priest starts motioning for silence as more and more people start calling out stuff. And he says, "Explain. What do you mean he was a slime?"
Well, it was a really smart slime.
What are you talking about?
I'm explaining.
All right.
Give me a second. Went to talk to the priest today. Had some business with him. And he invites us down to the basement. We go down there for a little chat. And this big old red slime thing attacks. So, like any good dwarf would do, I killed it. And he disintegrated in the goop too.
And then the assistant priest says, "And what do we have as proof of this?"
Well, there's a big old pile of goop. And I would not lie to my brethren.
All right, I want you to make a persuasion check.
Oh, boy. That's a 1.
Oh boy! And
Technically, that's a 0.
yeah,
just some dry lightning flashes in the background.
this is just
Oh, it's Joe's first natural one.
yeah.
Oh, yay!
Perfect timing for you too.
All right, welcome to the club, Joe. So you say this, and then the assistant priest says, "I think we'll be the judge of that."
Sure, let's go see the pile of goop.
And he says, "You will need to be guarded by warrior priests of the church guard until we can take you to the proper authorities."
Let's go right now. Right to the basement.
All right. And so the assistant priest says, "The rest of you remain here. I shall attend to this." And you are flanked on either side by a warrior priest. They wear armor forged. Each has a symbol of Durok on. There's a symbol of Durok on each of the pauldrons of their armor. They each carry a shield with the symbol of Durok, and they each have a hammer in their other hand. And both of them are human. So they look like they're trying to be dwarves, but they're not dwarves.
I'm gonna nudge one like, nice, get up.
And
Like,
they're-
come on, let's go to the basement.
all right. So you are all off to the basement.
As we go, again, I want to check and make sure they don't get like slime trails, that sulfur smell type stuff.
Go ahead and give another perception check. Meanwhile, Cal, you are standing around with everyone else, and suddenly you hear a voice that says, "Calypso?" And you turn around, and there is your father, and he says, I haven't seen you in temple in a while.
I've been busy.
He says, yeah, I heard with the guild. I'm sorry I haven't been around. I've been on in business and stuff like that. I'm so proud of you. You have to know that.
Thank you. I mean, I know you didn't want me to join the army like you did, so this is a way I can do some good without having to go abroad.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, I won't lie. The danger is something that I worry about, but I'm just glad that you don't have to deal with the stuff about the army.
Were you here when everything happened?
He says, "Oh, actually, yeah, I was attending service, and in one of the smaller chapels on the edge of the temple. I was just giving out a prayer and trying to remember." And he gets this dark look in his face. He just says, "Friends from long ago," and you've seen this look on his face before. It's any time he has brought up his experience in the army, he gets this look, and he turns back to you with a big smile. He says, "It was the strangest thing. The priest all of a sudden lets out this weird call, inhuman almost, and then melts. And he says, by far the most interesting service I've ever been in."
The man they just took away, he was telling the truth.
Really?
Are we are we around people? Or, I mean, there's people everywhere.
There's people everywhere.
Are people paying attention?
There isn't anybody paying attention.
Okay.
Everyone's too bewildered.
And it would be really, really nice if you could help. I don't want him to get into trouble. And he's a really, really good weaponsmith, and he makes armor and just all sorts of wonderful things. And I think that you would really enjoy him. He's fun.
And he just gets this, and he suddenly snaps into attention, and he says, "Say no more." And he gives you a big military style salute, and he says, I am going to have a talk with one of the other assistant priests, and I'm sure we can come to some sort of agreement to make sure your friend's okay."
It really was. There was some big jelly thing in the basement.
Really?
And do you know if anyone else is missing? Have you heard anyone talking about someone missing? There were 5 people, we think.
A couple of the acolytes disappeared.
Is the head physician still here?
The head physician is still here.
Oh, good. I wouldn't know. I mean, I didn't go to talk, and I don't think that she would have ever had a reason to know what the head physician looks like, correct?
No.
Can you point him or her out to me?
And he says, "Oh yeah, right over there." And he points, and the head physician is, again, this was an older woman, and she's standing by some of the acolytes. They're talking, and she's got this very worried face on her, and she's shaking her head, and she's an old, like I said, older human woman, kind of gnarled looking almost.
I'm going to go talk to her, but if you could help Dominic out, make sure he doesn't get himself into too much trouble. He's nice. I don't really get dwarves that much, but I like him. And he's telling the truth, and I'm afraid that he sort of stuck his foot in his mouth up there a bit.
He says, like I said, I'll do my best. He seems like an honest fellow.
Thank you.
All right. So he marches, and I do mean marches off in this sort of quick step fashion. And meanwhile, you're going to go up and speak to the head physician?
Yes.
All right. So the head physician turns around and says, You're Brahm's daughter, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. What's your name? I'm sorry, I haven't ever had the pleasure of meeting you.
And she says, my name is Vela, and I'm the head physician here. I saw it. I haven't seen you since you were a girl. I don't think. It is not often that I am unfortunately able to make temple these days.
Well, and no offense, but thankfully I haven't had any reason to visit you, so.
Oh, I don't take offense to that at all. It's much better when I don't have to see someone on, let's call it, a everyday basis, like some of the other patients I have.
That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah?
One of the people who is not here currently is the nurse that was attending Vahalik. To be perfectly honest, I was one of the people who was fighting in the basement with the dwarf who just spoke up there.
She says, really?
And your nurse was one of the things that was attached to that big slime thing. And I'm concerned. We got some information from her, and I guess people went and spoke to you, and thank goodness you're still here. Can I see on the floor behind her and see if she's got like any red thing or
Perception check.
Okay. 20.
No red thing.
I just wanted to make sure. I mean, how often did that particular nurse? Do you know which one it was? I don't know.
Vahalik had a personal nurse, and she hasn't reported in yet, so we were about to just go check on her. If you follow me?
Absolutely, and you'll be able to see some of the puddle he was talking about. We found it when we went in to make sure that he was all right.
All right. Then she says, okay. In that case, follow me. And she motions to other people talking to her. They follow behind.
Can I check for red things?
Yes, you can.
Just to stare at everyone all the time.
This is exactly what anyone seen the D&D Beyond video for the Ublex? This is exactly what they said would happen.
9, so...
Yeah. All right, so no red things that you can tell of. And but you make it up to Vahalik's room, and Vahalik is just there, staring at the window as always. And the head physician walks in there and looks at the ground and says, and points a finger and says, "There," and and she's pointing at the red goop.
That's it. Yes.
And she says, "I would like to take a sample and send it to the academy for study."
We have someone looking into it who's from the academy.
And she says, "How do you know of these people?"
I don't. They're with the Monster Hunters Guild. We came in here. We'd been looking into some other things, and we'd run into people with similar symptoms to Vahalik.
Really?
And we don't think it's contagious.
So those were your. Oh yes, you were saying some. Right, some of your friends came to talk to me earlier.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so this is so this was so this was guild business then.
Not really. It's more. We found out while we were working on other guild business, and I mean, Vahalik is a hero, and if there's anything that we could do to bring him back to his former self, we thought we should look into it, and so it's related to guild business. I guess guild business adjacent.
Guild business adjacent, and she takes a moment and she says, "I've dealt with the guild before, and a lot of their members do side jobs and follow up on leads. So I am familiar with what you're saying. So this is, but you do have the backing of the guild."
We do absolutely.
You
We're just concerned because more people are displaying these symptoms, and we don't want it to become an epidemic. And so we were trying to sort of look for any clues that we might find.
Right. And she says, okay then. Well, here's what here's what I told your friends. Vaholic came under his symptoms suddenly. He simply stopped responding to stimuli. We can feed him. We can get him to take care of himself. We can bathe him. But for the most part, he is an invalid, a vegetable.
I'm concerned that maybe the nurse was doing something to his food. I don't know.
We will immediately look into that. And rest assured, if the nurse was really one of these slimes the entire time, then we will definitely be looking at Vaholic and any other patients you might have come into.
Had you noticed any difference in her behavior?
No difference in her behavior whatsoever.
I wonder how long it was here for.
She said, and she just takes a look at it, and she looks down and she says, I don't know if there would be any way to tell. It's an ooze, right? So, they have any ooze that I know of has the ability to completely digest its victims. There'd be no body left behind. There is, it could have been here for years even, and we never have known.
Well, I appreciate your help, and if we find anything useful out, I will make sure that you know.
She says, "I would appreciate that, and I will make sure, and I will do my best to make sure that all my patients are accounted for and kept together." And you said you found other people like this.
To the best of our knowledge, it was the head priest, the one that was in the service, the small service. The nurse and a couple acolytes. According to my father, there are a couple acolytes that have not shown.
This is true, and if we find any more red puddles, we'll know who they were.
So,
But I was actually asking. You said you found more people with Vahalic's condition.
Yes. One of my compatriots has, and I don't know all the names, but that there have been people all over Codsfall, from all different walks of life. So we don't think it's contagious. We don't believe that they've been all in the same place at the same time or something. We just think that maybe there's something deeper going on that we're unaware of.
All right, then I shall look into this myself. I shall get in contact with the various other faiths and healers. We share a kind of network, rivalries aside, for the good of the people. Even though some give a little bit more freely than the Church of Duroc would. But if that is the case, I will begin researching this myself.
Okay.
Any clue we could have to the Vahalic's condition, and indeed the conditions of the other four souls, would be greatly appreciated if you could ever find anything.
Absolutely.
All right. It says, in the meantime, we should get back downstairs and await the findings of the assistant priest. All right. And now to Dominic. Dominic, you are led downstairs, flanked by two war priests, and they find in the basement, exactly as you described, the large red puddle and the smaller red puddle, and little remnants of the little lines leading out. And the assistant priest looks around, bewildered, and says, "All right, this seems to corroborate your story, but now I want you to explain why you were talking to the high priest in the first place."
You know how it is between us priests. I was talking to him for information. We were looking into that, what was his name? Vahalic's coma is what you call it.
And they look, and the assistant looks around and says, "What's your interest in Vaholic?"
Just guild business.
Guild?
Yeah.
You're part of the Monster Hunters Guild?
Nah. Contractor.
But you were here under their auspices.
Yeah. Falling one case leads to another case. You know how these things go with monsters.
Says, I know all too well. You know, I think we should talk to Vanderhilt. I think he'd be very interested to know what the guild has been doing, behind hunting down monsters and running around, keeping secrets, maybe.
I mean, it's not really a secret. He's a hero. You help heroes.
He's a vegetable that we are forced to take that we take care of in the vain hope that he will one day get better. But perhaps his body gave out simply because he has done all he could.
Sounds mighty suspicious there.
Really? Well, why don't you ask Vanderhilt what he thinks about it? I have talked to I have had the honor of talking to Vanderhilt several times about what has happened to his friend Vaholic. Do you know it's the reason that he's going against adventurers right now? He says, according to him, according to him, and nothing from our own examinations of him that disputes this, his mind simply snapped under the stresses of adventuring, bearing the weight on his shoulders that should have been borne by the guards.
It'll happen to everyone. You fight monsters. You go a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, adventurers, guards. I mean, wouldn't you rather be in private hands rather than the city having to foot all the bills when they go comatose?
And he just he's
There's much more money to be had than if we leave it to the government.
and he says surely surely you can understand that there are certain functions that a government should be can perform that keep it from they at least would not meddle in the affairs of the church.
I mean, is it really meddling when you kill a monster in the church basement? Not like it was a pet.
See, I'm not entirely convinced you're telling me the full story. But if you're here on the auspices of the guild, there's really nothing I can do. But I will have that talk with my friend Vanderhilt. And we'll see what happens.
Okay. You'll let me know about that too.
Alright. He says, in the meantime, I would suggest you leave. And I would suggest you be very, very careful about coming back to this temple, brother or no. We don't do we may both be worshippers of Duroc, but we don't do things over here the way you do them in your dwarven clans.
Well, one temple is the same as another.
Oh, I've been around. Let me explain and let me tell you. You could not be more wrong. And then he turns to the war priest and says, "Take him back upstairs. I need to figure out what I'm going to tell everyone." All right. So eventually, you congregate again. Cal, you have come back down from speaking with the head physician. Dominic, you were led back upstairs.
Did my dad show up at all?
Oh shoot! All right.
Passes him on the way down.
Yeah. So, you are led back upstairs, and as you're coming back upstairs, you meet a large, friendly-looking human man, and he points to the war priest and says, "Stop right there, theocratic scum!" And they just take a look at him, and they look to each other, and then they say, "Who are you?" And he says, "I am Brom Huntington Witt."
I'm like, I know your daughter. Hi.
And then they both get their eyes wide and they're like, sir, what could we do for you? And he says, I want you to release that dwarf and let him go about his business. And the war priests just look to each other and say, we were just about to take him back upstairs. And he says, okay, in that case, very good. Keep doing what you're doing. But you're still theocratic scum.
You're going to have to forge him a Father of the Year plaque.
Coffee cup.
Yeah, like a forge.
That's my daddy.
Forge him a coffee cup.
I hope he's turning out kind of like how you envisioned.
I love this guy. No, I love this guy.
Yeah, but Archie wouldn't.
No,
Archie would be terrified.
But like this Father's Day, he's getting a shirt that he can wear underneath all of his other shirts, where he can pull it open, and it says "Dad of the Year," and he guys. You guys come down of the year. My daughter asked me to do this.
He's getting chainmailed as just #1 dad.
I mean, with the experience of war, he might be like the highest creature rating in the city.
With the experience of what?
With being in the army and having fought, he might be like the highest CR rating. Like, if we can get him to fight, we don't have to play the campaign anymore.
Maybe not under it, though.
Smart.
Yeah.
All right.
I would have gone out front and just waited. I mean, I don't know where he's coming out, but if he comes out the front, I'll wait for a little bit. And if he doesn't come out the front, then I'm just gonna. I have somewhere I'm gonna go. But
all right. So you go out front and you wait. Dominic, you are brought back before everybody. As a few minutes later, the assistant priest comes back and he says. He goes in to address the congregation and he says, It seems what we have heard is true. We shall immediately begin an investigation into the origins of this creature, and we will be working with the guards. And he gives a pointed look to you at this point, Dominic, on the matter.
I'm gonna give him a point back and wink.
A pointed look. He doesn't actually point at you.
Well, I'm gonna point at him again.
He doesn't retract his.
And then he says, in the meantime, our friend is free to go. Barring any questions, I'm sure the guard will come to ask. And you are released, and you can now go as wherever you please.
Well, I'm gonna go back to the basement.
What do you do when you come back to the basement?
I'm gonna look around some more on my own.
All right, give me an investigation check. Meanwhile, Cal, he's not coming out.
I mean, okay. Well, then I'm gonna head over to. I would know the. Would we have met the head of the Monster Hunters Guild?
Not yet.
Would I know where to go? I mean, I would go to the Bloody Talon.
You would go to the Bloody Town.
I'm gonna go there and see if I can figure out who it is and where they are.
Right.
So, rolling a lovely 4.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna look around. Too dark down here. And then just leave.
All right. And where do you go after you leave?
He's just gonna go back to his forge.
All right, you're just going to go back to the forge.
He has work to do.
He has work to do. All right.
Enough adventuring for the moment.
All right.
We all agreed to meet at the tavern, right?
You weren't there.
He
Neither of us
wasn't
were
there for that conversation.
Oh, okay.
I'm only going for other reasons.
He's gonna go home.
Yeah.
He's gonna write a very stern letter back to his church.
Edwin, you have samples.
Yes.
You were doing research.
Yes.
Give me a couple of... tell me what your samples were again. You had the sample of the goo.
The goop,
Huh?
the corpse flower. Yeah, corpse flower, and then I had the cranium rat as well.
All right. Then you don't have the food.
The food?
He does.
Yes.
Archie would have
All
given
right.
it to him.
So, looking at the goop and looking at the food, the easiest thing to tell would be, is there anything in the food?
Right. I would distill that down to see if there's anything in it.
All right,
first.
give me an intelligence check. You're proficient with alchemist tools?
Yes.
Then add your proficiency bonus.
I'm stupid. 5. Wait, no, yeah, 8.
8. So you distill it down, and you look through it, and you're like,
It's all sawdust.
it's not all sawdust, but you distill it down, and you're like, well, there's a little applesauce, and there's some broccoli over here, and no. And you can't find anything else. You can't find anything in
Right.
food.
Okay. Then I would move on to try to test whatever the goop is to see if I can come up with multiple ways to check to see if something will react to its presence. Whether it's like a pH test where I can get some kind of limit paper or whatever that would react to touching skin. Or if I can have a chance, say, a glove to give a mild shock if it touches something that would react to it. Or something would vibrate if it's near.
You want to try and make an enchantment. All right, well, first thing you can tell is that that's going to take you a long time.
Right.
All right, you can get a head start on today if you wanted it, but you're going to have to first boil. You're going to have to start by just boiling the ooze and seeing what its components are right now.
Right.
So I don't know if it would actually be boiling, but basically you're just
Right, that's a base sounds. Okay.
I am not very good at chemistry, and anyway, this is fantasy. So just give me an intelligence check plus proficiency for alchemist tools to start.
25.
All right. So going into this, you realize immediately that there is a consistency to this thing that is almost exactly like that of maybe a gelatinous cube.
Okay.
So being like that, you can there is actually a material that reacts to acidic touches that could potentially change color depending on the acid content. And if that's the case, all you would probably need to do is touch the paper to the skin of the person you suspect, and it might change color. That's just a theory, though,
right.
Because, again, the consistency of the disguise was so good that even to the touch, these people feel real.
Right.
So, so it's possible that it wouldn't work, but you would have to do a few tests to make sure.
I'm fine with that. That's what I'm getting just for tonight.
That's what you're just getting for tonight. That takes you most of the night.
Is the library at the school still open?
The library at the school is pretty much open 24/7. It's a mage's library.
Would I be able to find books there that might tell me a little bit more about oozes or oobelexes?
Right. Oozes definitely.
Okay.
But you would need to use an Arcana check to identify this thing to know which kind of ooze it was.
Okay. So, that doesn't look so good. 13.
All right. So you've heard tell of different oozes that have been mutated in different ways, but and you think you can recall the book you read in it.
Okay.
And this is me using the Sage background. Because technically speaking, the Sage thing is if you fail a check, you know exactly where you go to figure out the lore that you need.
Right.
Right.
That's what that took it.
Yeah. So,
Cloister Scholar saying.
well, Cloistered Scholar means you get access to a library, which means you get access to the school library, which means you would also still know. So it's
would I also know teachers that would possibly know that I could use maybe for just to get maybe like advantage on checks ahead of time, like hey, they would, or at least point me in the right direction, like.
You would, and guess what? You know one of them already.
This what's your name? Thimble Thumb?
Yeah, because she helps deal with alchemical and creations. Specifically, any sort of creature created by a wizard. That's her specialty.
What time is it then?
It's
after all my distilling and...
The sun is like barely over the horizon now.
She's still there. I'm gonna go see if she's still in her lab.
All right.
We did find her sleeping there once.
It's true.
All right. So
If she's still sleeping, I'm stealing notes for class.
So you go to the lab, and you find her there, and she is just staring at a flask. And give me an insight check.
13. 13.
All right. So you notice that a 13 is enough to notice that she seems agitated, and you can tell this because her fingers are flexing. Now give me a perception check.
13.
All right. So you noticed on the and the flexing of the finger is her fingernails are looking longer and sharper than they were before.
I don't like that. And do I notice anything else? Like a lot, like lines or anything?
No.
Just her teeth look a little bit longer. Or
No.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing
You're
it from
not
here.
seeing it. Her mouth is clamped shut. She's staring very intently at the vials. And what do you do?
Hello?
And she says, "Da, J," and she turns around, and aside from the fingernails, she looks like her normal self.
Okay.
And she's like, "God, don't scare me like that."
Yeah, there's a lot of scary things going on tonight.
Edwin?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm very bad with my students' names. But wait a minute, you were also part of the group, weren't you?
Yes. I also kind of blend in the background. I get why you would miss me. It's okay.
It's fine. I should, if you were part of the group, so I should have recognized you. I wanted to thank you again. She goes to scratch her face, looks at her nails, and seems to think better of it.
That's probably a good idea. So I'm not going to talk about that because that's scary.
And she's just like, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm trying to figure that out. And she just is sort of hides her fingernails behind her back, and she says, "What can I help you with?"
I have a couple questions. I'm assuming I would have brought whatever results I had
Yeah.
with me, or at least some of the results.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to give her everything.
All right.
So I'm trying to figure out how to test or make a test to see if something will react to these chemicals I have here.
All right.
I kind of have a theory if I get certain papers, maybe it reacts to this like ooze type thing that this is.
Can I see the ooze?
I set it down on the table and step back.
All right. And she takes a look at the ooze, and she looks it over, and her eyes go wide, and she says, "Where did you get this?"
In the sewers?
Deception check.
Shit.
Do you have any spells left?
10. Yes.
Okay.
All right. She says,
No.
Okay.
She first level slots.
And then she says, "No, you don't
If I
understand.
remember right.
People could be in danger. Where did you get this?"
Well, just at the church at the moment.
Just at the church. Which church?
Duroc?
Is it dead?
Yes. Well, no, I just left it there. It wouldn't let me leave with it. It's dead.
All right. She puts it down and she says, "Look, sarcasm does not become you, and it certainly doesn't become you when you're dealing with an Ublex."
Sorry, you have really scary fingernails right now. You got me on edge. You need to calm down. I'm freaking out. You're freaking out.
Well, of course I'm freaking out. Do you know what this thing does?
Yes.
You saw it. It eats memories and people, and then pretends to be the people to draw more people in.
How did you know what it was by looking at it? Have you seen these before?
I have only ever seen one ooze that's this deep blood red, and it's on this consistency.
Where did you see it at?
It was a sample an adventurer brought back for me to study.
Which adventurer?
I can't remember their name.
Do
I'm
you have a
sorry.
description? Can I describe Bahalik to her?
You describe her that
And I don't know what Vanderhilt looks like, do I?
you Vanderhilt's on the campaign posters.
Yeah.
It would, if it was Vanderhilt, she would
might
probably-
know.
Yeah.
I don't know if she gets outside a lot.
So
She doesn't look like she
and
goes
she's,
out.
and you
hasn't
tell
been
her about it.
fingernails.
She's like, wait a minute, you're talking about the guy on the campaign posters?
Well, I would describe Valhalla first.
All right, so you describe Valhalla, and he says, you know what? This was years ago. I'm.
He'd probably be less gray, maybe like cleaner shaved. I don't know.
I don't know. You humans kind of age so fast. And
God, that's racist.
and she just looks at you and she says, "It's true though.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll give you
200."
that. I give you that. That's fine.
And she says, "Yeah, it might have been him. I cannot remember. I do know that there was a big deal about in the city when something happened to him. I'm not really up on current events. I think a buddy of his is running for office. I don't know.
Was there anybody else that was part of that?
Now that you... No, there wasn't.
No? Okay.
I do know that he had made a special point of hunting out things of that nature. He was one of the more prominent members of the guild, and he was one of the first people to work with me at the academy on that kind of thing.
He seems like he was pretty
should-
well liked.
What?
He seemed like he was pretty well liked at a few places. The church has him in high esteem as well.
Really? See, now I feel bad for not being able to remember anything.
We all blend together.
Unfortunately, that's true. I wish it wasn't.
But would you have a way to test this, or like at least point me in the right directions?
I can tell you this. I see where you're coming from. You've got the idea that maybe because it's got an acidic content, like other oozes, you could use a strip of contact paper to see if it detects the acidity. It won't. This thing changes itself so completely that the acidic nature of it is completely masked by the false skin it creates.
Would I be able to maybe create an enchantment that would detect its base nature?
And she thinks about it, and she says, "It's a possibility, but you would need a very, very good crafter of magical items."
I know a guy that can make stuff. I don't know if that can be magical.
Well, it would need to be magical.
Well, I'm sure I can help with that as well.
Yeah, it would need to be magical. It would need to be magical. It would have to be able to discern the difference between someone's thoughts. That is literally the only way to detect it. There are two, well, not the only way. The other way is, I'm sure you saw the tendrils that lead to it.
Yes.
But the main way to detect it, if you try to read the thoughts of an Ublex, you get nothing. It protects itself instinctively. Most people don't do that.
Okay.
Most mortals, most humanoids are unable of turning that away unless they've got a ring of mind shielding. So that's the only other way to determine it. If you can build something that can detect normal thought patterns, and you get a blank reading, it's a possibility that person might be possessed. But you said you found one in the city.
Yes.
How did it get here?
I don't know. We found... There might be a place where they came from.
Where?
Under the church.
Underground.
Yes. We could probably dig to it through the church.
That would be problematic.
But I don't know if the church would necessarily care for us digging through their basement.
That's why I said it would be problematic. I will say this. They underground?
Yes. There was also a tunnel that led from that chamber straight down.
So underground near where you was
In the same chamber
source.
with the source of it. So I don't know where that went because I couldn't see. I also found
What did the
these.
chamber look like? What do you mean there was a tunnel? What did the tunnel look
The
like?
tunnel was perfectly circular and went straight down, and then there were vats with the same liquids.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! 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 Only thing I've ever seen to make a perfectly circular tunnel that goes straight down. Well, let me put it to you this way: you need to be able to levitate and disintegrate matter. And I can think of one thing that can do that. Mind flayers. And if we're finding these underground and we're also finding cranium rats, these are sure signs. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start researching. You are going to inform the guild immediately that you think there might be a mind flayer infestation. We're missing several of the signs, so I don't know if it's a lone mind flayer or a splinter of a colony, because if there was an elder brain nearby, we'd know.
So I want to show. I also found these symbols. Like, would these be mind flayer symbols?
That's the language of the illithids.
Sweet. No.
Alright?
So that sucks.
Yes.
And what's up with the
It's
nails? Is that have to do with anything from the people in the sewers? Like, you guys making friends?
I am.
Just hung out a lot. It's fine.
I'm looking into it.
I'm just saying, it's cool. I'm not gonna say anything. Just
That
good
would be
luck.
good.
Okay.
I really would not like it to get out.
Alright, I'm just saying, like, we have some tests coming up. Maybe we... Alright, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. And I leave.
And he's blackmailing his professor.
I'm just gonna leave.
Have you been to the church for that?
And she says, I'm not going anywhere. I've got it under control.
Well, I'm saying maybe I know a guy. If you
says-
want to fix it. We can help each other out. You're helping me. I'm helping you.
Please leave.
Alright, bye. But before I leave, do I see any, like, notes around that might help me out on my test? If I ever go back to school, because apparently I don't have time.
All right, so give me a perception check.
18. Or I'm sorry, 19.
No lesson plans around you.
I say that out loud.